Once a year, James Sewell opens the gates to the dancers in his company to choreograph works on the company. And he also commissions another artist from inside the Twin Cities dance community to set work on his company, and that's this weekend at the Southern Theater. We're here for a dress rehearsal, and we're going to talk to two of these choreographers. One is Nicolas Lincoln. He's from within the company, and he's really an emerging star as a choreographer here. And we're also going to look at Hijack, who inject a little bit of their postmodernism on the James Sewell Ballet Company on this 3-Minute Egg.
I am a sum of all the components of what I've experienced in my life as a dancer and in my own life. And part of that is a very strong ballet background, and so a lot of my my movement style comes from that strong base. But there are just as much, there's a modern, the idea of what's modern in ballet is kind of shifting now. I don't know how to define it anymore. I like acknowledging all the vertebrae, like making a whole process out of something, and it's very snaky as opposed to being kind of rigid and held. One of the ongoing themes of the piece is the fact that our experiences as humans are a lot more similar regardless of our sex, and so there's a different person doing the solo at the end depending on which day, so that everyone can have a different experience each time. It's been a goal of mine to become a quote-unquote full-time choreographer. I don't know how you define that, but a full-time choreographer within the next 8 years or so. So I'm constantly being aware of what steps I'm taking as a choreographer to make sure that I can attain that goal.
The Schubert was being converted from an old movie theater into a performing arts center, so the sloping concrete theater floor was no longer needed.
There was just some coincidence that some of the time that we were rehearsing with the company, there was the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Schubert, and so all of that ceremony was the sound score for the dance on one of our big days of rehearsal.
Their studio was right over it, and the dancers were literally running out of rehearsal to go perform outside and run back into our piece.
I think it's a loaded subject. It's loaded with this company. It's loaded in this space. So that's interesting. My question with sound in dance is always what will allow the audience to see the dance that's been made. And some of the texts that we tried really obliterated it, and you couldn't see the movement. You say, well, okay, so what would allow us? And this text, or text and music, is fascinating because there's so many cuts in it and so many kinds of sound that pretty much there are tons of coincidences the way the sounds work with the movement.
For House Movers, another entry in the Guinness Book of World Records.
It is important that an audience member would think that this piece is telling a story, and yet we didn't choose the story. We chose components that together should be evocative. And we chronicled the process of coincidences that led us to Schubert stuff, but we are also keenly aware that it's controversial and embraced that.
The locals in my town dream of moving to the next town, but never do. The town was once supported by mining, commercial fishing, or farming. No one knows what supports it now.